I'm Christine. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Happy Hour Knits podcast. It is a knitting vlog, basically where I talk about all of my crafting and projects, a little show and tell, if you will. I have so many things to show because I meant to podcast again, I think the end of March, 2 weeks after I put out my first podcast, and this whole COVID-19 coronavirus thing caused a few shifts in my household. I'm actually a nurse. I work in a hospital. I've had patients with COVID, so we've been self-isolating at home for a while. We're not currently, but we had to make a few changes, and that caused some hiccups in the podcasting schedule. Anyway, knitting is a reprieve from all of the craziness that is going on in the world outside. So we'll just get to that and I'll start showing all of my projects so I can keep track of them because I'm terrible at updating Ravelry. I have not put any of the stuff on Ravelry. I'm Destiny City Knits on Ravelry, so if I do update it at some point, you can check on them there if you have any questions. I will try and do that in the next month or so. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to start my first work in progress that I'm trying to remember when I cast it on. I think it was just 2 days ago, so fairly, my most recent cast on for sure. It's the Ripple crop top by Jessie Made Designs, and I cast this on for the Sweater Weather Forever Cal that's hosted by Maria of the Woolen Forest Knits podcast. I have not done very much so far, so I'll just kind of show you the little bit of ribbing that I've done. I'm making, I believe, the extra larger 1X size. There are over 300 stitches on the needles. This will probably take a little while, but it's only 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn. I've divided up the skeins because, like, here's half a skein. It's a gorgeous yarn by Republic of Wool. Actually, I just saw on Instagram today, she posted a picture of herself wearing a Ripple crop top, which is the pattern that I'm making, but knit by somebody else, and another yarn of hers that I have that I'm going to make a sweater out of. So it was gorgeous, and now I kind of want to make a million of these sweaters, but we'll see how fast this one goes because I'm not very far yet, and yeah. It seems like a lot of ribbon, which could be really tedious. We'll see. Yeah, so the yarn is Republic of Wool, her twist fingering. It's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon blend in the Ice Chai colorway. And I said I was dividing up the skeins. I don't think I said why. I'm doing the helical knitting method because it's a variegated yarn, and I don't want to get too much flashing and pooling. I'm okay with some because it's kind of a loud statement piece anyway. So that is the first thing that I am working on, and let's go on. I have such a huge pile here that I want to go in order. I do have some show notes. So the second one, I mislabeled in my show notes actually, is the not the Stockholm sweater, but the Oslo sweater. I actually can't really tell the difference between the sweater and the Stockholm sweater from just the pictures. I'm sure there's some slight differences in the makeup of the design, but I haven't read both of them and compared them to be able to tell, but they look about the same anyway. So this is how far I've gotten. I think last time I did not have the neckband done, and I was, I think I had just split for the sleeve. So I have completed the body of the sweater, and I just finished it off with some ribbing at the bottom, which is called for in the pattern. I really haven't made any modifications. And then I picked up and knit the neckband, which is folded over, and then I just whip stitched it together. And right before I was done whip stitching it, I put in, I think it says to do an elastic cord, but I didn't have any elastic cording, so I just used like some clear, I don't want to say tape, but it kind of looks like tape, like flat clear elastic that you use to kind of hang up your sweaters, or that come on like ready to wear designs to help keep the shape, I think, when it's on a hanger. I think that's the purpose of that. I don't even really know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I found a use for it. I tried it a couple different times, just knotting it. I think and then I tried it on. I think the first time it was a little too tight, but this looks about right. So it's just to help it keep the shape. It's not actually cinching in anywhere. I guess over time it ends up losing its shape. I wouldn't know. I haven't tried it before, but I will let you know after I wear it, which probably won't be for quite a while. Just because it's super beautiful outside. This past weekend it was in the 80s, and hopefully we'll have some nice weather for a couple more months. So yeah, so I am on the first sleeve. We just pick up and knit from the sides. That's what I will do on this neck side as well. So I'm drinking He Hates These Cans by Matchless. It's a easy IPA, and it's IPA weather, so totally appropriate. Matchless is just out of Tumwater, which is slightly south of where I'm located at in Tacoma, Washington. So fairly local beer. Tastes great. No complaints. Nothing that really stands out to me about this, and I didn't actually know the reference until, I mean, obviously there was a reference based on the can design, but it's Steve Martin in The Jerk. He says that. I googled it, watched the little clip, and decided I didn't really want to watch the movie. Not that Steve Martin is like terrible, it's just didn't really enjoy his character in that. So, but delicious. Yeah, basically sleeves, and I'm done. I am knitting this and knitting for Olive. This is a fingering 4-ply merino, and I'm holding it together with this, what is this called? Silk mohair. This, I believe, is this copper color. I think it's cognac. And then this is mahogany, or this is cognac, and this is copper. If I ever update Ravelry, I'll try to get it right on there. Or update the show notes. We'll see. I think I called this mahogany and this cognac, but maybe I actually have some ball bands so I could check out. Oh, it's not in English, but copper. That's similar enough. And then this one says copper too, and they're obviously not, they're not the same color, so maybe, no, all of these are cognac. So mahogany, no, forget that, throw that out. Oh, this one actually has, this one actually has the label on it, so cognac, copper. Another reason I think it's going to take me forever to finish this is because with the whole quarantine thing, we ended up moving some stuff around. My youngest stepdaughter moved down to the basement room, which is nice and cool for the summer. I totally get why she did that. She basically gets her own bathroom downstairs, and it kind of helps us have our own space. So my husband ended up moving in his office into her room, and then I got my own craft room. there's no problem with that, except I don't have storage for everything, and I had to pack up most of my yarn because the bookcases or cabinets that I had my yarn stored in don't fit up the stairs. We had a little incident with trying to get the cabinet up the stairs. It kind of got stuck. It is back downstairs now, but that was a struggle, and pretty embarrassing because we should have figured that it wasn't gonna work. So at some point I will get some storage for yarn, but a lot of places aren't open now. I ordered something from IKEA, but it probably won't be here until like August. So in the meantime, my yarn is safely stored, and I do not have access to more yarn for this project than what I have in here, unless I decide to like go through everything, and I have enough stuff to work on in the meantime, and I'm not gonna be able to wear this anytime soon, so it'll probably be on hold once I am done with the yarn that's in the bag. So, but I'll get it done eventually. I feel like most of the work has already been done, so it's not too terrible, and I have a lot of other projects to work on. Next, a third sweater. I have another sweater that I've cast on. So, this doesn't really look like a sweater. This reminds me of one time when I was knitting at an orthodontist appointment, not for me, but for my youngest stepdaughter. And so I had like just the ribbing done on the sweater, and again, it was knit bottom up, and I just heard some ladies kind of whispering in the corner, what is she making? Is it a belt? Like who would knit a belt? And then I've obviously talked about this with other people, and they're like, well, yeah, you could do a knit belt. No, you couldn't. But like the look on her face kind of matched, like, belt, who wouldn't knit a belt? Anyway, this is not a belt. It's gonna be a sweater eventually. I love this gorgeous marled yarn. It is by Magpie Fibers. It is, what is this, Nest Worsted? I believe it's their Corriedale worsted weight yarn. It's a 3-ply, so each one of the different colors is a ply. There's a brown, like a light purple, and then like a medium gray in there. So I've used up almost a full skein on the ribbing and like an inch of stocking net. I should tell you what sweater it is. It's the Weatherwell, I think. Weatherwell, that's what I have written down. It's by Kiyomi Bergen. It's in issue number 19 of Emery Sue, which is just the most gorgeous magazine, and it's adorable with the little squirrel that they have in their title font. I love the cover of that too. It's so like wintry, relaxing, with the gorgeous model like blowing on her super hot cup of tea, and it is just like kind of monochrome, just white or cream off-colored background. And the sweater that she was wearing too, it's like this funnel neck. Like I kind of want all sweaters to have a funnel neck, so I might have to at some point knit the sweater that she is wearing on the cover of issue 19. But I don't actually know what sweater that is. But this Weatherwell has some color work just at the yoke. It has some of the sleeves too, but I think I'm gonna omit that. I really haven't made any modifications yet, but it says to start with the sleeves, and I'm actually starting with the body instead, because I wanted to do, I think, ribbing on the sleeves first and omit the color work. And I kind of wanted to see what my gauge would be like, to see how many stitches I should cast on, and then work up to the number of stitches in the arm. I believe it's just kind of like a straight arm, so but I do want the wrist to be fitted, so the cuffs to be fitted, so yeah, I probably will make some changes at some point, but again, I wanted to see kind of what this ribbing would do to see how many I should cast on. So probably after I do, if I get close to joining for the sleeves, then I'll cast on the sleeves, obviously, in order to follow the pattern correctly from there. So for the color work portion, actually, I should show you. I have a different yarn for that I am using. I mean, it's the same yarn, just a different colorway. It is Midnight Wine, and I'm a little afraid that this is going to bleed when I wash it, just because you can see how much of the color has kind of worn off on the label. So I've heard of people using color catchers. I've never tried that or done that, but I might try that for when I first wash and block the sweater. And I thought those would kind of look nice together. We'll see. I was picking up this yarn online. I had seen it originally when I went to Stitches West. I went to their booth, but I didn't actually buy it there. I had in my mind for like future projects. I really love Cordell yarn and wanted to use these at some point. So I'm glad I get the opportunity to do that. And I've been kind of lusting over the Weatherwell sweater, so I think that'll be really nice for kind of camping in the late fall to winter. Yeah. Oh, and I put this project in this lovely Aran sweater bag by Fat Squirrel Fibers. I love all of her bags, and this it really goes with the couch in this room. Kind of one of the color palettes I've been going for, so yeah, enjoyable. What is next? So those are all the sweaters that I'm working on currently, thank goodness. I have some I don't have some shells, I just have one shawl. It is another Sylvia McFadden pattern. I have two that I actually have finished right now. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna work my way basically through most of her shawls because they're super simple, nice, easy lace, good repeats. Yeah, and I could just have like, I need more shawls, I think. Just a shawl to go with every outfit in the fall and the winter. And if I don't want this one, my stepdaughter actually requested one, so it might be a gift for her if she wants it. We'll see. So I'll show you the beautiful lace on this guy. Has kind of a nice garter selvage or border. And then the yarn is gorgeous too. I got it online from Bedhead Fibers. She's, I think, fairly local, maybe out of Seattle area. And she's a natural dyer, so I believe this is at least majority Shetland based. I don't think I threw the tags, which is a mistake, but they just caused so much clutter. Like I just had to get rid of them. Didn't take the time to write anything down. Just had to get rid of them. Because I have enough yarn. I don't need to order more of it. So I believe it's an indigo dyed Shetland worsted base. Looks like a 4-ply too. It's you can definitely tell it's natural dye. I was gonna see if my hands were blue yet, but I think you have to work with it just a little bit. Actually used the Licca needles in the I have an indigo set too, because I have worked with indigo dyed yarns before, and it just ends up kind of dyeing your needles as well, so won't be a problem here. But yeah, I haven't even gotten halfway through yet. It'll be a while before I get this finished probably, but I'm enjoying it so far. I definitely have to kind of check the pattern every once in a while. I don't have, I think it's a 20 row repeat, and I don't have it memorized. I don't think I'll be able to memorize it, but I don't have to pay super close attention. So yeah, I think that's why I've been enjoying it, but maybe it hasn't gone as fast as some of the other shawls that I've done in the past. So yeah. Oh, I didn't actually say what that one was called. That one's the With Ease shawl. With Ease shawl. It's in her Gentle Armor kind of pattern booklet or pattern collection. I've knit, I think that's just the second one that I've knit from that booklet, but I'm planning on knitting a third after I'm done this. So I will show you that once I get to it. What else? So yep, that is it for shawls. I do have a cowl that I showed last time. I still haven't finished it. I've made a little bit of progress. If I really wanted to finish it, I could probably like bust it out in a day or so, maybe 2 days, but I'd have to pay pretty close attention to it. So it is the Wallflower Cowl by Karina Spencer. It is knit in Knitting for Olive, DK. I feel like it's super lofty, so I feel like it could also be a worsted weight yarn. But it's 5 different colors. I knit this pattern previously. I did block it. I think I showed last time before it was blocked and it was rolling up like this. It actually lays nice and flat after it's blocked. So, and I didn't follow the pattern exactly last time, but I am this time. But I haven't really seen too much of a difference, honestly. I think it's just the addition of these little purl stitches. It doesn't exactly act like ribbing, just because of the color work. It's mosaic. It's not, is mosaic different than stranded color work? I feel like it is. I guess mosaic knitting usually is not necessarily trend color work. I don't know what I'm saying. You can call it whatever you want. There are different colors and you only knit them one at a time and they're a bunch of slip stitches, so it's technically mosaic. You could probably knit it with 2 strands at a time. I don't see how. I think it would just make it go a lot faster for you, and maybe I should have just done that. Thinking about it now, but yeah, I'm a little over halfway through the pattern. There are like these little star motifs that are on top that take probably just a little bit more thought and reading through the pattern, because you have to do different things on different rows. It's not like, oh, knit this block, knit this next block. But yeah, the yarn is lovely. I actually am planning on knitting a sweater out of this held double with some mohair in a slightly different color at some point. And I think it'll go really fast and be super soft. I definitely would recommend knitting with this yarn. And I don't think it's a blown yarn construction. I believe it's a chainette and the yarn is just super fluffy. Looking at it, I don't see like a bunch of yarn in the middle and just like a tube on the outside. It looks like each stitch is just super fluffy. So yeah. And I have this in a Tammy Casey bag. Cute, summery, springy. I think it's a Rifle Paper Company print in canvas, so really nice and durable. no pockets in either of those bags, but I don't mind. I just end up shoving a bunch of stuff in there anyway. And then I usually have like a Notions like little pocket, little pouch. What else next? This guy, dish towel. I just wanted to have a stack of these at one point. I gave one away to my mom, and then I have another 2 now that I have finished and knitted that I'm just gonna put in a little jar in my kitchen at some point when I don't have kids in the house who will use them for like mopping up stuff. I mean, you probably could. I was just gonna use them to like dry dishes, but it is a cotton linen blend. It is the Pebble dishcloth pattern by Purl Soho, and then I'm using Purl Soho's line of yarn too. I believe this is called Lantern. It is, I think, like 61% cotton, 39% linen, maybe. Yeah, and I have it knitted a pretty loose gauge, using a size 5 US. It's pretty boring knitting, just a giant rectangle basically in garter stitch, but I just think they look so nice when they're done, and I really just think this yarn is gorgeous. So I have it in a bunch of different colors, and I just think it will end up looking super nice in my kitchen eventually, and it'll be nice to just grab for you know, something that I have knit to, you know, do some household chores. So probably about halfway done, and I think they had this in the pattern. The only other addition is I just do like a little I-cord at the end and kind of connect it back to this main rectangle to create a little loop to, like, if you wanted to hang it up to dry or whatever. Yeah, so I think this color, I was gonna say what color it was. I wrote it down. Frost blue. just in case, you know, I wanted to get some more at some point. Yeah. Let's see, last thing that I am working on as far as knitting goes are socks. And I really have not been doing too much on these. For a while I just had them as like, if I had a break at work, then I would pull them out and do a few rows, but I feel like that hardly ever happens. So I don't end up making any progress, and they just kind of stay there. So maybe at some point I'll just switch it out with some other project so I can actually finish these. Maybe a dishcloth. Maybe I'll work on a dishcloth at work. So these are the, oh gosh, I should know this because this is like the 3rd pair of these that I've made. The High Desert Socks by Lindsay Fowler. She's Lost and Found on Instagram. Yeah, they're gorgeous. This is 6 and 7 fiber. It's basically 2 fingering weight yarns that are marbled together. I am almost, I think, ready for the heel. I actually like this version a little bit better than the last one I did. If you're gonna make these, I would recommend just a higher contrast yarn. So this is super nice because I can see all the stripes. Yeah, I think the other pairs that I've made, you can't necessarily see them because the colors are just, like, you look at them and you think, oh, they're not, they go together, but they're not like super close. But it just ends up getting kind of washed out. So yeah, this is the first sock. So there really aren't that many stitches on the needle. Like, it feels like it should go super fast. I just really haven't put the time in. So I want them. So I should probably switch them out, kind of put them in an area where I will end up knitting with them more. Either like on a couch, on my desk, not in my work bag where I don't go if I don't have to. another sock. So I showed these last time. I have one sock that's finished. And then the second sock I am working on, they are the Tuku Honey Socks by Andrea Mowry. I am knitting them in the Called For Tuku fingering weight yarn. It looks like kind of a nice plump 2-ply. Yeah. Second sock syndrome, going pretty slow. Again, they've been relegated to work backpack, just working on it while I am on my lunch. So I only usually get like a row or two in and then have to put them down. So it feels like it's taking forever, and I just need to just like get through the heel in like an afternoon and get them done, because I kind of want to do the whole box of socks thing where I have a bunch of new socks for the next year, but so far I've only finished one pair of socks this year. So I'm not gonna have a big box of socks unless I get a move on. So yeah, hopefully next time I will have 2 pairs of socks finished. I'm hoping. There are a lot more socks that I want to do too. I did get the Lina magazine, their 52 weeks of socks publication, and I basically want to knit all of those socks. So I need to finish these ones so I can move on to something new and interesting. Is that it for works in progress? No, that's not. I have a crochet work in progress. I guess I have 2 finished little, what did they call it in the pattern? Puffagon? Hexie puffs? They're hexagon, so not granny squares, but granny hexagons. A super cute pattern by Cherry Heart, the Cherry Heart blog. If you go there, they have got a bunch of different crochet tutorials. Yeah, they're great. I feel like mine did not turn out very well. I think they used DK weight yarn in the pattern. I used worsted. I used Germantown by Kelborn Woolens, which is, it just feels like the right kind of like Afghan yarn. So not too woolly, not too soft or fragile either. But yeah, ones that I think could get somewhere and still be okay. So this would probably take me forever. But I wanted to have a blanket for my little office craft area. I want to have a quilt as well, just kind of like a little lap quilt. But I also wanted to have something that I knit or crocheted. I've done in the past a lot of like those chevron or ripple stripe blankets or afghans, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. I thought this would be kind of cute and retro. So yeah, they're really not very neat, but when you look at them as a whole, I think it'll look cute, and you won't be able to see like the little mistakes that I made. It is a UK blog, so they are in UK terms, so if you do look at it, you should just double check your terminology. Because what I thought was a treble crochet was not. So yeah, that's simple recommendation. The colors I used, I think they're pretty straightforward. This is jade, this like kind of jadeite, jade kind of green color. Actually looks a little bit more kind of like a green blue than like the, you know, normal jadeite green color. And this is called Old Blue, and then the natural color is called Natural. Surprise, surprise. And then I am knitting, or not knitting, I'm crocheting them using a size H little vintage crochet hook It is so cute and plasticky, but wonderful. Yeah, so I only have 2 of those done. So who knows when I will finish that. It might not even become a blanket. Maybe it'll become a pillow. Who knows? I'm open to that. Yeah. So no more crochet, but I do have a cross stitch that I'm almost done with. I'm on the back stitching and I'm just like the worst back stitcher. I just feel like my back stitching is so messy. This is by Junebug and Darlin, and she just has the best little kits. And then I have this Tuesday Basin needle minder, which I love, and I feel like it's appropriate for the wording on here. Riot's not diets. A little hard to riot nowadays, right? Also hard to diet, but we're just not gonna go there. But yeah, I love the little flowers. It's just precious, and I think it'll look really nice in the craft room. Nice addition. So, there's that. This is what it's supposed to look like. And these are all the wonderful supplies that are included. Basically everything that you need. Everything's all cut, neat, organized. I feel like it's worth the money. I mean, you could just get the pattern and download it, which is fine. But actually, I don't know if she sells her patterns independently. There are a lot of companies online that you can just like download the pattern, and I have done some of those in the past, but I don't like just that extra step of going to the craft store, finding the exact colors that you want, just cutting them to like the appropriate lengths, all of that stuff. I can pass on that. That's not, I like planning, but that's not like an enjoyable part for me. So having it like all in one kit, super nice. And oh, I have it in this super fancy bag. I was gonna say, I also have my my Ripple crop top in this yarn in this super fancy bag too. Whatever, right? Moths aren't gonna get in there or in here, and I can see everything that's in there, so that's nice, right? Yeah, so hopefully I get that finished soon because I have other cross stitches that I want to do. Some for the craft room, some for other people. At some point I'll get to them. Oh, I'll show you one that I really like too next. And it's huge. It's huge, but it doesn't look like there's any backstitching. Backstitching might not be the right term. I might just be thinking sewing like backstitching. But you are going kind of backwards, so that would make sense. I don't know. I'm not positive. But yeah, this looks like such a gorgeous pattern. So many colors, just like all the colors I want to knit with right now, want to work with, want to cross stitch with, I guess. So I think I originally got that with plans that we were going to get a trailer at some point, and wanted something to like hang up in there. I actually have like an afghan that's partially done for that same purpose, but we didn't end up getting one, so we just kind of put that on hold. But with all the stuff that's going on, we were kind of thinking, oh, camper might be fun. We'll see. So those dreams are kind of living on, and I might work on some of these projects. That might give me a little bit more motivation to get some of those done. Hoping that like I get to decorate like a little camper at some point and actually go camping and actually go on vacation. Who knows? That's probably just a pipe dream, but we'll see. Okay. Things that I actually finished, not as big of a pile as the things that I'm still working on, but still, at least I finished something. I finished these socks. Do these look familiar? They are the High Desert socks. Previously mentioned by Lindsay Fowler of Lost and Fond, and yeah, you can kind of see here the like the stripes get lost because I think I just used like a white and there is white yarn and like this multicolored yarn here. So yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you, I use basically the same yarn in those other socks that I am using in this. It is just a different colorway. I don't even know if the colorway is mentioned. I'm sure there's like when you buy the sets, they have names for the sets. But I don't remember what this one was. But it's like this lovely lavender color, and the base is clover and it's Cordale. And it is gorgeous, and I want like a million of these pairs of socks, mostly because of the Cordale yarn. Although, you know, it's super easy, super interesting. Yeah, just to see all the different color changes and kind of what the marling ends up doing. So yeah, I have a pair of those, the only socks that I have finished this year for myself. Maybe I think I finished some for my husband. Actually, I don't have them here. I had it was like an Advent self-striping yarn from, oh gosh, what's her name? Stacy of Mustache Yarns. It was her little Hobbit Advent set for Christmas, and I finished a pair of socks for my husband. I actually was going to make them for me, but I ended up making them too big. And that's how my husband has more socks than I do. So next hat is going to be for my husband because I messed it up. And it probably would look better on him anyway. I did mess up the repeats a little bit. It is the Marlin hat by Sari Nordland. I have so many hat patterns of hers. I was going, while we were in quarantine in like separate rooms in the house, I was like going through a hat kit, and so I ordered some yarn from Tolt. Yeah, I always want to say Tolt Yarn and Wool, Tolt Wool and Yarn, Tolt Yarn and Wool. That makes more sense. They have more yarn than like wool that is not yarn. Yeah, so I ordered some yarn from them. This Magpie domestic worsted yarn that definitely is not as soft as their Swanky DK or sock, because it does not have any cashmere, but it is still nice and lovely and not super itchy or scratchy. I don't know, sounds like The Simpsons. The itchy and scratchy hat. But yeah, gorgeous cable pattern. That's why I wanted to knit this hat. But I didn't quite do it right. It actually should be a little bit longer than this. Because I think I skipped some of the cables at the bottom. Anyway, I'm going to redo this in black for myself. But this fits my husband just fine. It looks good on him. He should enjoy it. I actually ran out of yarn because I misread the... I mean, I think I just assumed that it would only be one skein because like hats are normally just one skein, but there's this huge brim plus cables yarn. So yeah, it takes 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn if you want to do this version. And I really like the folded brim. I'm gonna knit mine with a folded brim, but I had to wait to finish this to get the second skein of yarn. Again, from Tolt. They're saints. Yeah. Lovely hat. Definitely gonna knit another one, and I'm probably gonna knit like 4 or 5 more Sari Nordlund hat patterns because all those cables. She makes hats with beautiful cables, and I also want a beret. So I got some of this blue Issair yarn, and then some blue, like, I think it was Magpie. Magpie there. I think Swinky sock. In this like gorgeous medium blue. If I ever get to it, I'll show it here. Anyway, there's that gorgeous hat. Oh, my finished pebble dishcloth. So you can actually see what it looks like. I basically just don't go exactly with their specs. I just want to use up all of the yarn. So I think I did about 48 stitches on a size 5 US straight needle. And then here's the little acord loop to hang it to dry. Yeah, super nice, super squishy. I feel like there's enough air so it'll dry in between. I have that problem with dishcloths where like gets sopping wet from drying and then ends up being like a little mildewy before it actually ends up drying itself. So I can't use it that often before I have to rewash it with just old my dishcloths. So yeah, we'll see. I think I've just used it a little bit just to like dry off some surfaces. But yeah, no issues so far. Shawls. I finished 2 shawls. I finished 2 shawls. This, I guess it's technically a shawlette. This is by Sylvia McFadden. It is the Copper and Candle Wax shawl with this gorgeous lace. I really haven't worn it yet. I feel like it's too warm, but at least it's a shawlette, so I might get some wear out of it. I knit this, and it's like the Magpie Fibers shawl. And the Magpie Fibers Swanky DK. Only used 2 skeins. I basically just, I did modify it. I'm trying to remember how exactly I modified it. I feel like it's a slightly looser gauge than the pattern calls for. I think the pattern might call for worsted weight yarn, and I actually used DK. So maybe to compensate, I knit this garter section a little bit longer, and then maybe did an extra, I don't think I did an extra full repeat, but maybe like half a repeat of the lace section. So nice and long, like longer than my arm's length. So probably, I don't know, over 6 feet. Anyway, I really like it. We'll see how much wear I end up getting out of it, but color's gorgeous. I think it's Eager Beaver. It's the colorway. Just this kind of bronzy brown. So yeah, I think I talked about that last time, how I was having issues starting the lace because where it's telling you to start the garter is not quite right. You actually need an odd number of stitches to do the lace rather than even. But yeah, if I do a Ravelry page for it at some point, I think I will just write that, mention that little change that I made, because I was frustrated for quite a while trying to figure out, well, why is this not working, and then I just counted up and I was like, oh well, it says I'm supposed to have this many stitches, but really I need this many to do the lace. So yeah. Another Sylvia McFadden pattern. This is the Gentle People shawl. It is on the cover of her Gentle Armor pattern booklet. And again, I feel like I followed the pattern for this, but I used a different weight of yarn. I might have gone up in needle size. I should write these things down just so like I actually give good information. But I mean, I like the fabric, so I might not have, because I'm a fairly loose knitter anyway. But I used Aran weight yarn instead of worsted weight. I used Stone Wool Corriedale. It's one of their naturally dyed yarns. I don't know if all of their yarns naturally dyed, probably. But it's like the lightest of like the kind of reddish colors. Again, I probably should have the ball band, but I have tossed those out. But yeah, super huge and cozy. It is a crescent shaped shawl. Oh my gosh, I just realized I finished another shawl and I didn't bring it up here, so maybe I will talk about it and insert a picture at the end. We'll see. Anyway, another crescent shaped shawl. This one I did not bring. But I used a similar technique in this one. So basically the only modification I did was a technique by Jacqueline Cieslak that she mentions in her sprouted shawl pattern. So that this, it doesn't end up bunching too much, and then you have like these nice flat edges rather than like the super curly Q ends that you end up getting when this, like where you cast on, where this edge here is just like way too tight. And anyway, I just thought that was genius. She's a genius. And I'm just gonna use it on all my crescent shaped shawls because it works and it kind of gives me the look that I like. Yeah, basically I, again, knit this until I was out of yarn. Sylvia in her pattern basically says you can modify how many of these garter ridges you do for each section. So you have basically your garter border, and then you have various purl rows staggered throughout. So you could have, like, if you liked this section at the top more, you could do more of these and then less of the more frequent purl rows. Kind of up to you depending on what look you wanted, but I pretty much just followed what her recommendations were because I liked the cover photo. Yeah, so again, this is the Gentle People shawl from the Gentle Armor booklet. So yeah, and I really love this color, and this wool is perfect. It's pretty like heavy and drapey. I've actually been wearing it occasionally, like going on walks when it was a little cooler out. And then I would just kind of do like a wrap and then tie in the back, just to kind of keep my shoulders nice and warm. Yeah, it's super long. So if I fold it in half, you can kind of figure out about how long it is. I might have to fold it in quarters, we'll see. So that's folded in quarters. So it's probably like 8 feet long. Gorgeous pattern though, so simple, like a beginner could totally do it. I think you'd probably get better results with that Jacqueline Cieslak tip, but yeah, super simple. Oh my gosh, I think that's it. Except for the shawl that I forgot to bring up. It was a shawl that I had originally knit for my brother's wedding, but I didn't quite finish in time. So I had put it off to the side and it had sat on my desk for a little while, and I just figured I need to finish it. Because, I mean, it's not coming up on a year yet, but I didn't want that project to languish that long because the yarn was beautiful. It's La Bien Aimée, and I think her singles held double with her mohair. Yeah, and I think it was the, I'm spacing out the name. Winter something. Oh my gosh, where the Game of Thrones family with the wolves. Anyway, it's this dark blue La Bien Aimée yarn, and the sprouted shawl was really well designed, and I would recommend knitting it. She has some good tips on the Vickle braid as well. That's in there, and I don't want to give it away because I think you should totally buy the pattern if you can. And knit it. I might knit another one at some point. It was a lot of stocking knit. And the lace wasn't hard by any means, but yeah, I'm not a big lace knitter. So I like really simple lace. I should actually just do an episode talking about super easy lace patterns. If you like lace and shawl knitting and knitting for like spring to fall, like shawls that you could wear, what are good recommendations, because that's what I like to knit. But yeah, it's a pretty shawl. I feel like I don't get dressed up enough where I would necessarily wear that, so it might become a gift at some point. And it's probably not really my color, but I enjoy knitting with it, and I like looking at it even though I might not necessarily wear it all the time. I don't know, do you do that? Do you pick out things that you just like looking at because you like the process of knitting rather than thinking about, oh, this end product, am I really gonna wear this? I do that even with, I shouldn't say even with, but you figure, oh, socks can be anything. They can be crazy looking, like it doesn't matter, I'll wear them with whatever outfit, but I won't. So like I knit a bunch of crazy colored socks at one point and then just ended up giving them all away because I didn't really want to wear them because they didn't necessarily go with everything. So I'm trying to be better with like the socks and stuff that I knit, that they're a little bit more neutral, not as out there most of the time, so that I get more wear out of them. That reminds me of some darning I need to do. I have some gorgeous socks that like the heels just basically fell out of one of the socks, and then the other heel is going. So I'm glad I have extra yarn to oh my gosh. Our Alexa in the other room is going off about things that are on our calendar. So anyway, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and wrap this up, and then hopefully a lot of the nonsense that I said will just be yeah, edited out magically by my husband, because I'm not even gonna do my own editing. That's so, I feel like that's so shameful. Yeah, Chris, just cut all of that out, please. Yeah, so I think that is it for today. I am going to try to come back in a couple weeks so we don't have quite as much stuff to go over. I think it'll make it a little bit easier to do this on a regular basis. If you happen to watch this, please comment. I would love to hear from you. I want to know what you are knitting, what cows you're doing, if you've knit any of the patterns that I have, if you're interested in any of them, if you have any pattern recommendations. Yeah, there are a few other things that I'm thinking about knitting in the future, but I think I'm going to save them for another time just because this has gone on long enough. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.